Welcome back to CSBM Plus Commentary. Today's video is going to be a bit longer than usual, but I promise you every minute is packed with valuable information. I'm not here to waste your time and I'm not here to waste my time. Everything I'm covering is crucial to mastering Havoc Demon Hunter. I'm going to dive into the main points, starting with some key tips and strategies for more advanced players, because I know this is going to be a long video, so I'm going to try to give you some information you can actively use right now. For example, you might want to consider taking Throw Glaive off of your bar completely. Remember that Unbound Chaos proc can be used strategically because it's delayed. And you'll need to be dynamically adjusting your rotation based on the distance of mobs. I'll also show you a really cool way to extend your meta window by min-maxing the timer. And that's just the beginning. I am going to be going over all of the talents, why I take them, when I take them, which builds I recommend, some of the easier builds, and just an overview of macros. Everything that you need that I have learned in 5 years of playing and pushing rating on Havoc Demon Hunter, I will be putting into this guide. Grab a drink, settle in, let's get started. This is going to be a comprehensive guide that you do not want to miss. In this part, I'll quickly go over the full rotation you'll be trying to pull off for the most part, but what you guys have to realize, in Mythic Plus, it's not perfect. You can't always do the same rotation every single time. So, I will show you the highest DPS, and then I will talk about different things that you can do at the opener pull. When you're running up to a pack and you have no Fury, you need to gain Fury, Sigil of Flame, Fel Blade, Immo Aura into Felrush, Immo Aura into Eyebeam, into another Felrush, into your Hunt,
Don't move.
Glaive Tempest,
Don't
Death
move.
Sweep, into Vengeful Retreat, meta, Death Sweep again, into another Eyebeam, rinse and repeat. If you have multiple Immolation Aura procs, you need to be using them before that next Death Sweep, but I got no procs here. Here we go, I just got one proc, and now I'm making sure for my next Death Sweeps that I always have an Inertia up for them, and now my Vengeful Retreat is back up. The second my Death Sweep is up, so I'm able to get a full crit window into that. So that is an entire meta window opener for Glaive Tempest. Okay guys, I know that was very fast. Let's break down exactly what I'm doing with this. So for when I Eyebeam, I need to cast the entire cast so I can get the Furious Gaze buff, which I will talk about in all of the talent tree. But, so we want to make sure our fully casted haste buff is out due to the Hunt being on a hasted buff. Your haste, if you have Lust, PI, will make your Hunt do more damage. That is the main takeaway here. And one of the really cool things about the Hunt is if you wiggle your character when you hit, it will help you apply the dot to all of the surrounding targets. If you think about it as you have 0.5 seconds after your target is hit with the Hunt, you have 0.5 seconds to hit other people with your body, and you can apply that dot to the next mob. One of our biggest damage in the entire key is the Hunt dot, so make sure you're getting that value, plus it heals you. It's very good. Your foreset is what resets your Hunt, so you constantly want to be using the Hunt. Your Blade Dance resets it, your tier set refunds it. It's just so good. Main takeaway here for your meta rotation openers is when you are looking at your timer dwindling down to 4 seconds, you need to be looking at your Death Sweep cooldown. If your Death Sweep cooldown is at 3.5 seconds off and you know your meta ends at 4 seconds, then you're able to actually extend your meta duration by using a Blade Dance, which is now a Death Sweep, but it would technically be a Blade Dance because that entire window's out, and then you're able to get an Annihilation off in that same time frame. So this will be your Essence Break build. Our main goal here is to make sure that we are getting our Chaotic Transformation, our Furious Gaze, with our Inertia buffs, and with our Initiative buffs, all within the same window of our Essence Break. Our Essence Break increases our damage done to all targets hit with Blade Dance and Chaos Strike by 80%. So we want to utilize all of that extra damage. We will Immo Aura Go forward, get your Inertia proc a Eyebeam, get another Inertia proc, use your Essence Break, Blade Dance, which is a Death Sweep, into another Death Sweep after you meta Vengeful Retreat. And you can see the opener in the bottom left. It's just so much harder to be able to actually pull this off fluidly in a key. This is why I do not recommend it. But this is also a for fun season, and if you like playing Essence Break, it's not that bad. It's not that far behind. You can play it. Just be aware that you probably will not be getting the full value out of it. The only time I can see that being super worth is if you're doing a world first tyrannical key and the boss has a phase that's going to put another shield out or something, and you have to finish that phase. Essence Break will do more damage. Single target, yes. But overall in a key, it's easier to use Glaive Tempest. You will probably do better. It is the correct play. Alright guys, let's dive into the talent tree for Havoc DH now. So this is going to be your main build for Mythic Plus. One of the only recommendations I have, if you're very new, I probably wouldn't play these two choice notes, Inertia with the Furious Gaze talent tree. The reason why is because these are no longer passive damage. If you have Inertia, Furious Gaze, you have to be min-maxing those throughout the entire key and lining everything up. If you're new, I highly recommend playing Momentum with Serrated Glaive. They're more passive damage, a bit easier to understand, and it will just do extra damage in your key while you're practicing. With that being said, let's jump directly into the real Mythic Plus build that you will need to master if you want to play Havoc Demon Hunter. We're going to start quickly off with why Furious Gaze is not as easy as it might seem. And then I will break down the entire talent tree, talent by talent, and why I take it. Your Eyebeam in the dungeon, it must be done fully casted. And sometimes if you play a class that stands still for a little while, you understand that you have to move a lot. So if you are not extremely confident in the dungeons, you will not be getting the buff from Furious Gaze, because you'll cast Eyebeam and cancel it halfway through because there's a circle under you or else you die. So those are some things that you have to check out. If you want a super easy beginner build for Mythic Plus, you would take out Furious Gaze, put it into Serrated Glaive. Serrated Glaive gives your Chaos Strike and your Throw Glaive 15% more damage. It's just straight up passive. You do not have to think about it. Your Throw Glaive and Chaos Strike just do more damage. Very good choice node. Recommend it if you do not get the value out of Furious Gaze. And the other thing you can change, this would be my recommendation for a new player that is looking to get into Havoc Demon Hunter for Mythic Plus. This is the build, and I will run over all of the choice nodes in here of why it's your Mythic Plus build, but these are the two things as a player you can change. If you're changing anything else, you may as well play a completely different build. So let's start from the beginning. We went over Eyebeam. Eyebeam you have to take. It is your main ability. Eyebeam is reset every single time you use meta, which is why we're good in Mythic Plus. So when you Eyebeam, you will then Death Sweep. With your Chaotic Transformation, once you go into meta, I'll show you right here. We'll get some Fury. Eyebeam costs 30 Fury. So we Eyebeam. And Eyebeam is on a 30-second cooldown. Death Sweep is on a cooldown. And I now use meta. And now my Death Sweep is off cooldown. And the Eyebeam is off cooldown. And then I can just kind of use it again. So I have 30 Fury. Boom. So that is what Chaotic Transformation does. It is absolutely necessary. You have to play with it. I have never seen a build without it. If there's a build without it, it's probably wrong. I won't play it. You need this talent. It's a must. Next, Insatiable Hunger plus Demon Blades. Demon Blades is so good right now because we don't really have a rage generation issue as long as you're kind of watching your rage.
Demon Blades allows you, while you're in a Blade Dance, Death Sweep, Fel Rushing sometimes, depending on if you're getting an auto attack while you're doing it, you're able to regenerate Fury just fully passively, no extra globals, it costs you nothing, plus it does extra damage. It's also an auto attack, so it scales based on haste. So once again, that's why I like to play Furious Gaze. So the more auto attacks I do, the more damage it has to proc the chaos damage, and the more fury it will generate. For probably 5 years, I played Insatiable Hunger with Demon's Bite. I'm very glad that they fixed Demon Blades. They made it better. I have played both this season. Demon Blades it's not even comparable to me. You do not need rage regeneration on the scale of Insatiable Hunger. It's not even close. This is a waste of a talent node. Take Demon Blades. Burning Hatred, Immolation Aura gives you more fury. Fantastic. This is pretty much a must in Mythic Plus. For some reason, I see people trying not to take this. I don't even know what they're taking instead. It's probably this. Yeah, no. This is insane. Magical damage increased by 3% and physical damage taken reduced by 5%. That's essentially living in it's essentially living an entire key level higher because of this choice node. Take it. It's phenomenal. Without it, 5% physical damage is such a huge DR. I don't think people understand it. It has to be taken. Next, Accelerated Blade. Throw Glaive deals 60% damage, reduced by 30% for each enemy hit. This is our main bread and butter. Our entire 4 set is built around Throw Glaive. Blade Dance automatically triggers Throw Glaive on your primary target for 100% of damage, and each slash has a 50% to Throw Glaive an enemy for 35% damage. That is the key takeaway here. Take Glaive Tempest off of your bars. Take Glaive Toss off of your bars. Do not use it. You do not need Glaive Throw. Where is it? I don't even have it on my bars, so. Am I blind? There it is. Throw Glaive, literally not even on the bars. You can take this and throw it away. If you think that you should be using Throw Glaive in a scenario, you are wrong. If you are so far away from the boss for some reason with maximum fury, the way you can look at that is you were incorrect sending your fury earlier and wasting almost 40 fury on a Glaive Toss that is thrown for free by our 4 set. It's literally thrown for free with a chance to throw extra. Each slash has 50% damage to throw more Throw Glaives. It's free. If you use Throw Glaive, you're wasting a global. It is not correct. Take it off your bars. I promise you will do more DPS. Let's move on. Throw Glaive reduces the remaining cooldown of the hunt by 2 seconds, and the hunt's damage is increased by 6% overall. That is incredible. Let's keep going. So, our next choice node, First Blood, extremely fun talent, but what you need to understand is that Blade Dance deals more damage to the first target struck, which is your target. So, you want your main target to not be that one mob that's over in the right that clearly has way more health on a fortified week, and if you target that mob first with your Blade Dance and your death sweeps and everything, you're going to be literally doing double damage to that mob. It's going to die so much quicker, and then the big mob is going to get bolstered, and then everyone's going to die. So our class is a very good prio damage class, which is why people have been taking it a lot. Our next choice here is essentially a PvP talent choice. But there is uses for Mortal Dance. For example, this week is Sanguine. I will be using Mortal Dance in keys where I do not need Deflecting Dance to live. But the super overreaching scenarios in which I am required in a 18 key to use a healing reduction should not be a basis for your decision to make this choice node. Pick Deflecting Dance. There is almost no scenario until you have a full pre-made group that has decided that you can live the bosses, that has decided that they will be giving you externals throughout the key, that will be supporting you and healing you extra because you, literally on 6 seconds, you don't have a 15% health shield for yourself. If your team is ready for that, you can play Mortal Dance on Sanguine weeks to reduce the healing that they will get from the Sanguine. If you are not on Sanguine week in a pre-made, play Deflecting Dance. Done. Next one, take Netherwalk. I don't even know what this is. Oh yeah, this is terrible. One of the worst talents I've even read in World of Warcraft. I don't even understand how if it didn't put your blur on cooldown, that would be sick. But it literally uses your blur when you don't want it to. It's terrible. Do not take it. Netherwalk makes you immune to literally everything in the game. Incredible on 3-minute cooldown. Must take every single time. We already discussed Chaotic Transformation. When you meta, it resets your Eyebeam and Blade Dance for maximum efficiency. Trail of Ruin, the final slash of your Blade Dance, that is the main one. You want to hit the very first part of your Blade Dance, and you want to hit the very last part of your Blade Dance. You want to hit all of it, but if you're going to hit anything, you need to hit the first slash, and you need to hit the last slash. The last slash is the big one. It puts a dot on every single mob it hits, regardless. It's not the biggest damage in the world, but it's extra damage. It helps. Furious Throws, pretty simple. Throw Glaive now costs 25 Fury and throws a second Glaive. So I think without this talent, it's 35 or 40. It's way too much. Crazy. But you have to take it for the second Glaive, because our second Glaive helps us reset our cooldowns for the Hunt, which is essentially our biggest DPS. Scars of Suffering has to be taken. Reduces your threat. If it didn't give you versatility, you're still taking this. It reduces your threat by 8%. One of our biggest problems in Mythic Plus is threat. Next is Initiative. This is one of the hardest things to min-max in the entire game as a Havoc Demon Hunter. So what I want you to be looking at this as is an extra. Stop trying to base your DPS cooldowns around this. Yes, it should be. But let me tell you, it's not as easy as... anyone can just hit Vengeful Retreat. That's fine. But the concepts of every single time a mob is coming into the pack, maybe we're in Ruby Life Pools, we got those little critter dudes coming in, the little elementals, the tiny little ones that just die immediately. What I try to do is I try to only hit one of them to get an initiative crit bonus for 5 seconds, and I try to stay on the right side of the pack for a second. So I have literally I have 10% crit chance because I touched one mob, and then I walk to the other side, so I'm not hitting the other two. And then once my initiative proc drops off, I will then Felrush through the other ones and get another 10% crit for another 5 seconds. And then the millisecond that is over, I will go directly into Vengeful Retreat. Vengeful Retreat will proc my initiative again, and then I will go into a pack with 15 seconds of 10% crit, where you're probably going to go into the pack with 8 seconds of 5% crit, or with 10% crit. It's still good, but you have to be thinking about it. Every single time a new mob comes into your vicinity, you need to be thinking, where's my Vengeful Retreat cooldown? Where's my initiative cooldown? Am I already in initiative? Do I need initiative right now? Is my Eyebeam coming up? Am I doing my full rotation? What do I need to do? Initiative has so many unbelievable min-maxes that it's almost too hard to... I would not focus on it until you're unbelievably proficient at everything else, is my best advice. It's very important. My other advice for it is keep your Vengeful Retreat on cooldown, it will, when you proc Vengeful Retreat, you get Fury and you get an Initiative. So when you have a big cooldown window coming up, you want to be you want Vengeful Retreat for it, gives you 10% crit. That's what you can understand with this. New mob comes into your pack, you hit a new mob for the first time, you get 10% crit. Do your best to min-max it. Don't lose your mind over it. It's harder than it looks. Final Slash of Blade Dance deals an extra 50%. So it's going back into your Trail of Ruin. Just make sure you're hitting the last slash of the Blade Dances. Like, there's just... We're taking all of our choice nodes to hit first person hit and then these. We're taking 1, 2, 3, 4 choice nodes just for Blade Dance. Make sure you're hitting it all. Make sure you're hitting it all. Growing Inferno, pretty straightforward. Increases your damage every single time it ticks. So you want to just be ramping with an... you always want to be in the mobs anyway, so this is passive. Next is Burning Wounds. Demon Blades and Throw Glaives, which is your Demon Blades here. Leaves open wounds. 25,000 damage over 15 seconds, increasing the damage they take by the emote aura. That is the important part. Make sure Burning Wounds are on the main targets. The main targets will be taking more damage. That is why with First Blood, you're targeting the big mob anyway, so you're not doing inefficient damage to the other side. Here's another prio damage that we have, and it's only up to 3 targets. So when you go into a pack, just decide what mob is the highest health or the most threat, and just have a focus target for your kicks and focus that target down. You are very efficient at killing everything around you with Ragefire and Glaive Tempest that you're allowed with these talents to focus one single target. So next, Ragefire, I would say, is the bread and butter of this entire spec. Everything lines up together. You need every part of this, but Ragefire is why Demon Hunter is so much fun to me right now. It is a great talent. I love using it. You can get when you use an Immolation Aura, we'll use Immo. We'll see 8 seconds. Actually, this is going to be easier to show if I'm near a target dummy, but... So, if you use Immo Aura, I will see my stacks right here. My Ragefire is slowly building over time. 50k, 62k, 72k, 81k, and then exploded. So, my Ragefire ended up doing 419k. What's really cool about this is that the only things that we were not capped on is Ragefire and our Immo Aura damage. Everything else has a target cap. So the more things you can actually hit with Ragefire, you're gonna scale pretty hard. It's really, really good. If you get some procs of Immo Aura, you will do insane damage with the Ragefire. Next, and I will have an entire video on how to min-max Ragefire, but I think it would take me 15 minutes just to teach you exactly how to min-max this. This guide is to get you understanding what Demon Hunter is, so you can play this and understand the concepts behind it. Here is Soulscar. This is an incredible synergy with our tier set. Let's look at it again. We went over it earlier, but it's always good to go back. Blade Dance automatically triggers Throw Glaive on your primary target for 100% damage, and each slash of your Blade Dance has a chance to throw Glaive an enemy target. So, let's read this again. Throw Glaive causes targets to take an additional 100% damage dealt as chaos damage over 6 seconds. So, if I walk up to a pack, what you need to understand about Glaive Tossed and then Blade Dance would be, if I throw Glaive here, check it out. I have Burning Wounds on 3 targets and the dot on all of them. So it went out. I used 1 global. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this augury thing. I did 1 global, and I even got extra random shit on the side. So let's do 1 global a different way. So, now I have Trail of Ruin, Dots, Soulscar on every single mob. It was an ability that cost the same amount of Fury, gave me a shield when I pressed it, and threw Glaive 5 times. It threw Glaive 5 times. That's crazy. So I could not use a global, throw Glaive with my... Look at that. There you go. Full dots on everything, Burning Wounds, Trail of Ruin. I mean, it's not even comparable. Damn it. It's actually not even comparable. Next, let's go straight across. I think I skipped one because we have talked about Furious Gaze. It is the 10% haste. Highly recommend. Unbound Chaos. Here is how Inertia... These are the 2 choice nodes that essentially make Inertia fun. So, Unbound Chaos, when you put your Immo Aura on, you're going to get an Unbound Chaos buff here. There's a very crazy min-max with this that I have used many times. It's rare that I have to use it, but it is very helpful to know. If you see, my Unbound Chaos is gone. There's no buff anywhere. But I know I haven't Felrushed yet. So, if I know I haven't Felrushed yet, and that Immo Aura is gone, that Unbound Chaos buff is gone, and I still want Inertia because I see my Eyebeam plus Meta, Hunt, Trinket, Pot is up, I'm like, oh shit, I used that Immo Aura way too early. Check this out. So, we've just been sitting here this entire time. I mean, there's, like, you could see people running around. This has been at least 30 seconds. If I use Felrush, there's my Inertia window. This is a must-know. You have to know this. It has saved me. It helps me do so much extra damage. Another viable thing for this is at the beginning of the key, you're getting your 30 Fury before you're going to do your Eyebeam, Elemental Potion of Power meta, and start key. So this right here, I still have that Unbound Chaos rolling from the beginning. So let's say the pack is all the way up here. Yeah, the pack is this far away. We've been rolling, it's 10 seconds in. I'm literally going to be able to start this pack with every single buff in the game and go boom. Like, that is crazy. And I started with an Inertia. I still have 2 Immo Auras up. I mean, it's a must-know tech. You get to start the pulls with Inertia. It's very good. Our main choice node that we have to take is Glaive Tempest. I would say if you are not a legitimate rank 1 player, if your name is not Psycho X or Fragments, do not play Essence Break. You will not do more damage than it. I do not care what the sim says. I've played this class for 7 years. This is so unbelievably hard to min-max in a Mythic Plus setting, even for the highest level players. It is not easy to play Essence Break. It might look easy and you'll play it and you'll be like, oh, I did great. You didn't. You've missed multiple mobs with the Essence Break. You held your Eyebeam for 20 seconds to line up the meta on a bad pack with the Essence Break. I am only saying it, I'm not even saying it about you. I'm saying this is my experience playing Essence Break. This is simply too hard to play. I can get 99.9% of the value out of Glaive Tempest. I cannot, at my level, get that value out of Essence Break. I can get fucking damn close. I have timed 30 keys with Essence Break, and I go back and I watch them, and I wish I was playing Glaive Tempest. Essence Break is too hard to play for almost anyone in the game. It is not efficient damage. You have to hold way too much. The mobs are not perfect in Mythic Plus. People are like, oh, it sims better. It sims better. It's not perfect. Mythic Plus is not perfect. That's why Glaive Tempest is incredible. You just go like this. I'm literally walking. I'm not thinking about anything. There's nothing going on. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just Glaive Tempest now. And fucking 18 seconds, I have another Glaive Tempest. And it goes out, it does its damage, and it's it. You do not have to think about it. Such an easy talent, and it helps you get more comfortable on Demon Hunter. Essence Break, just way too fucking hard. Don't play it. There's 5 Demon Hunters in the world that should be playing that spec. And if you are not doing a world first tyrannical key on a Demon Hunter with a pre-made group, play Glaive Tempest, you're welcome. I promise you, you will be happy with that build. The next stuff is not, there's not too much to go over. This is just a talent to get your last one here. Know your enemy, gain 80% critical strike damage equal to your critical strike chance. Pretty standard stuff. I think it's been in almost every tree for Demon Hunter. Here is why I think that this is the most fun build I've ever played since I've started playing Demon Hunter back in BFA. Immolation Aura has 1 additional charge and has a chance to refund your Immo. This is my favorite talent that they've put in by far. So, why this is so cool is I'm hoping I can get some procs here. So, no procs, I'm lucky. So, I will put procs somewhere. I will probably hyper a video of what procs look like right now. So we can go over what Fire Inside actually does. And we will come back to that when I have the video for you. Chaotic Disposition. Your chaos damage has a 7.77% chance to be increased by 17%. Occurs 7 times. Someone really liked 7. This is passive damage. Take it. It just flat out just duplicates your damage essentially by chance. Any means necessary. All of these are just straight up just like stats. Mastery, Demonic Presence now also causes your Arcane Fire, Frost, Nature, and Shadow damage to be dealt as Chaos damage instead, and increases that by 50%. Has to be taken. You just do great damage. I've seen builds where they try to like take Glaive Tempest, Essence Break, or some Fel Barrage crap, and I would not even. I wouldn't be able to work because it's just way too much fury. This does no damage anymore. They gutted this talent. Fel Barrage is just, you can't even take it. They made it so hard to use, and then they made it do no damage. Essence Break. I will show you guys a guide for this in this video. I will show you a rotation. If you want to play it, you can, and I'll show you how to play it. But I'm just telling you right now, you're probably not going to get maximum value out of that, and if you're okay with that, it's a fun build. That's all you need to know. If you're trying to have fun, Essence Break, easily playable, just a bit harder. That's the main takeaway I think you should know. This Shattered Destiny, like all 3 of these talents, are essentially for a non-mover build. This extends your demon form so you can continue to Chaos Strike a bit more. Blade Dance in these reduces the cooldown of your Eyebeam. So if you're on a boss that never moves, never does anything, I don't even know. I haven't even simmed this because I've never played it. I'm not really one to be able to talk on this build. I just know that it exists. I have literally never played it. I don't recommend it. I believe it sims way less. And I think there's only like 2 fights in the entire game you can play it on. So don't really use these talents. You can look into them if you want. If you want to know what they are, I would search No Mover Demon Hunter. I've never played it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to play it. Blind Fury. We have no Fury generation issues this season. You don't need it. If you're if you're under Fury caps, you need to kind of take a step back and adjust what you're hitting. For example, if you're getting starved on Fury, you're probably hitting Throw Glaive. Don't hit Throw Glaive. Take it off your bars. You don't need to press it. There's never a scenario, literally never a scenario where you need to press it unless you need to pull for your tank. And you also have other things to do with it. You could taunt the mob. You could use a Sigil on the mob. You could go body pull the mob. There's so many different things you could do to pull a mob from that range, but if you're going to argue that you need to use it to throw Glaive to pull a mob, put it on your bar, take it off your keybind. That's my suggestion. Do not have it on your bar. Do not touch it. It is not worth your fury to press Throw Glaive. Don't press it. Isolated Prey. You can't really even take this. Like, you would have to lose 10% haste to take this. And I don't really... It just makes you do more damage to one target. And that's not great in a Mythic Plus setting. I'm wondering if maybe one thing I could see for this is you have a super hard tyrannical boss. You have a warlock in your key. You port out before the last boss. You go super single target, but then you would get rid of Furious Gaze. I'd have to sim this single target, but if you could lose no time and go out, and the boss is only one boss, and he never has a single, he never adds an ad, this could be viable for one boss in a certain scenario with a warlock that can summon you back after you change the talent tree. So, I guess there's a use for this, but let's be real, probably not. Looks can kill, Eyebeam grants guaranteed critical strikes. It does no damage anyway. It's just to get you into meta. This is irrelevant. We don't need that. And then this is the choice node I said that you guys can be swapping to go back over that very quickly. If you want the easier version of this build, get rid of Furious Gaze, put it into Serrated Glaive, and then get rid of Inertia and take Momentum. This is now a passive talent tree for you. You have so much passive damage in here. Your main thing that you would be focusing on is Glaive Tempest and keeping your momentum stacks up. It has a 30-second window, so make sure you're Felrushing all that to keep that up. But my recommended build for anyone that has a general idea of Demon Hunter and is looking to maybe get into keys, maybe 5+ up to maybe 18, this build will be the only build that you need. You will never have to change from this build for any affix, for any week, for any dungeon. That is why I'm trying to highlight this build. This is the build to play if you want to climb in Mythic Plus and have some fun. If you want to be rank 1 in Mythic Plus, play a mage.
Alright, let's wrap it up with the Demon Hunter points that are available for everyone. I would have to say that this left side of the talent tree will not be changing much for you in a Mythic Plus, but let me show you what does actually matter in this tree. There are a few nodes that you need to be aware of, and the first one would be Champion of Glaive. Throw Glaive has 2 charges and a 10% increased radius. Sure, whatever, that's why I take it, because it's okay. The other one, Throw Glaive, has 2 charges and snares all targets hit by 50% for 6 seconds. So, for example, this is really bad on Sanguine. We do not want the mobs slowed in Sanguine. It's bad. And a lot of the times, realistically, the tank doesn't want mobs being slowed because it's harder to group up. When mobs are doing their exact speed and the tank understands and knows how fast that mob moves, it's easier for them to mentally group the pack up. So it might actually be a detriment for you to take this talent in certain keys. It will make the grouping harder for your tank because that mob, some might be immune to slow, so some are running really fast, and then all of a sudden he hasn't been able to hit any of the other ones because they're super slow, and then all of a sudden they're attacking your team. They're tiny thoughts that you have to think about with it, but just do the increased damage or increased range. It's completely fine. I don't think you're ever going to have any issues, and if your team's like, I need slows in here, then take this. There you go. I've never had that happen, so if it happens to you, sure. We are not rage starved, so you do not need to take this choice node. I see a lot of people taking this for some reason. If you're losing Fury or you're capping on Fury too much, that's more of a fundamental problem than kind of a we're missing chances to get more Fury. So we have to look into the rotation more if that's an issue. The biggest choice node that you have is these options at the bottom. This is pretty much all you can change. You're keeping Collective Anguish, keeping the Hunt, done. You're never taking Elysian Decree, they'd have to buff it by double. So, Flame of Fury, you can take out 1 point and put it over here and make yourself a lot tankier. So Pitch Black gives your Darkness 120-second cooldown off. That's 2 full minutes. You can just kind of start sending your Darkness on CD. I like that one. Long Night. I mean, Darkness sucks anyway. It's more of just like a throwaway thing. I try to use it now more so for the tank. If I see the tank is getting blasted, he has no more CDs, I will Felrush onto the tank and just drop Darkness. I don't really think adding 3 seconds on the Darkness has any value at all. If you're not going to take Pitch Black, you may as well just put another point in Flames of Fury. This is simply just more damage. That is the only thing of value for Flames of Fury, so if you want more tankiness, I recommend getting Pitch Black. Your Sigil does decent damage, but it doesn't really matter. We're also not Fury starved, so getting an additional 1 Fury per target hit for Sigil of Flame is not needed. So I have 1 point into it just because it gives me a little bit extra damage. It's a little bit more single target. It's okay. Pretty much everything else you need to be taking. Consume Magic has to be taken in Mythic Plus. There's so many things you can consume Magic for. A very good example is Nokud, the second boss. You have to dispel that boss or the tank will die. There's multiple shields in Nokud. Ruby life pools. There's Flame Dancers, and if they cast their full cast, let's say Enraged or Bolstered, the entire group's going to die. Even maybe the tank. They're so strong, but all you have to do is hit Consume Magic. I will have videos about what you can Shadow Meld, Consume Magic, and some high value mechanics you can learn and actually implement into your keys. For the most part, this is fairly standard stuff. This is just essentially reading the spell book at this time. I mean, Felrush, Vengeful Retreat. Make sure you have all these choice nodes. You need Vengeful Retreat to use Initiative to be able to proc extra crit because you know your enemy gives you damage based on your crit chance. So, overall, that is Havoc Demon Hunter. Talent tree. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any questions, because I know I went over a lot in here, please message it in the comments below. I will try to get back to you with very detailed answers. I'm here to help you get better at Demon Hunter. I'll be making a similar guide like this for Warlock. Please give me some feedback. This is the first time I've made something like this. I did my best. I think I got a lot of information out there, and I think I can help a lot of people with it. Thank you.